Still je bericht in Irak son a darn tourist I gemich in Olympic jauri. Hwyl Charlie Guest in neach gros bars UK a taring a munich achge amach buski alpach. A fakal driach Charlie on a Cunard.
Obviously, it's not news that you ever want to get as an athlete, that your programs are going to be unfunded and that your coaches and staff that you rely on to do your job potentially don't have a contract or a salary or anything. So yeah, it was massively stressful. I suppose about 3 weeks before, we had a few murmurings from GB Snow Sport that UK Sport might not be coming on board, but they were confident that things would get sorted, which they obviously didn't then from UK Sport perspective. I think what was really great though is during the time that we managed to really pull together as a team, we launched a crowdfunder which has been pretty successful and it's still ongoing, which is helping us a lot with what we're having to pay towards keeping on competing. And then personally, I had a private donor come on board and a new sponsor, and that's taken quite a lot off of my mental plate, which has been fantastic, and it's really allowing me to sort of buckle down and focus on my skiing. But it really has shown our grit and resilience and has forced me, I suppose, put myself out there more and forced me to really stand up for what I believe in, which can only be a positive thing moving forward. So, you know, it's not an ideal situation, but we've certainly made the most of it.
As Joey na Olympics run ich Charlie en coach eich geaardig is een viergein die heen vochtig soos na rangen. At the via lesig vai kutjok ak an naam is drie lis na doellang a hasen inching na the howard na leathaidean.
Had made quite a big step forward under the guidance of my last coach for the last 3 years, but I'd also moved into a totally different league of skiing, and I was 26 in the World Cup and I want to be top 15 in the World Cup. I don't want to, do you know what I mean? I needed to make a step forward and I needed somebody that had the experience that could do that for me. And so I changed coaches with all the funding things. My serviceman decided to leave, and so I've got a new technician come in now as well. So it was a whole new team structure, which has paid off. And I've really stepped up the level of my skiing and training, but that I haven't managed to translate that into the races yet, sadly. So early season races, you know, I was 9th after the first run of the first race of the season, which was a huge, like, that's the best run I've ever put down in World Cup. But sadly straddled in the second run. You know, that can happen in this sport. And the second day went out again and was leading 3/4 of the way down, and again straddled near the bottom. After that, we traveled over to the States, and I think mentally the situation got the better of me, because I knew I was skiing fast and I knew what I could do and knew my potential if I got to the finish. And then this problem with ski racing, again, you know, being the fickle mistress that it is, my brain was just like, okay, get into the finish. But because of that sort of thought process, I skied too conservatively, tried to control too many variables, and ended up being slow. Then end of December came, and I had managed to sort of start getting things back into a little bit of a rhythm, scored a result in Austria, and but then the next day I broke my collarbone. So that put a stop to that sort of train moving again. So yeah.
Ha Charlie either be tollichtjes and dois a haid chillige dash as Joey kneve nuke a brische. Na Joey shin gita by me hollichtje lemmer a ringy ag farfish na crunje of you in the guzich.
You know, like I'm so chuffed with where my skiing level is, that it is with the medal winners and it is with the top 5, top 10 in World Cup. You know, that is 100% possible for me to do, and it's the first time in my career that I have the physical evidence that I can do it, rather than just like having the belief in myself and having the solid belief. Like, the physical evidence is there, and now it kind of feels like the last part of the puzzle is aligning my self-identity and who I like. I don't know how to explain this, but aligning my self-belief and everything together just to put that into the race package, because I have to say, for probably one of the first times in my career, at World Championships, I knew I could do some damage to the top 10, top 5 by completely, like, I'm going to admit this, I completely psyched myself out in the start. I knew what I was capable of, and controlled too much on the way down again of that first run, and ended up outside the 30. I finished in 31st after the second run, after making up a few spaces, obviously, in second run. But for me, it was really disappointing because World Champs was not a reflection of where I felt or where I know my skiing is at the moment. So.
Ha adda Charlie tullig de sa dhéanú, agus anna bhí féin I podium na stríche. Ha coite dort to be feiking tilleadh híing, agus sata an astar haiad tían bana háisií a skiag an dáiseach ag dúsan Cluinnidh agus.
Sadly, thanks to, not finishing a bunch of races and then missing a bunch of races, I'm not going to make World Cup finals, which was my biggest sort of, I suppose, my most wanted goal of the season. So now it's all about sort of retaining ranking for going into next season, and trying to just score some good results. I think my focus for these next 4 main races is just to race, and just to sort of free my mind and free my head and just get into that racing mentality, which can only serve me well. And then in the future, obviously, is getting on World Cup podiums. And long-term goal now is like between now and Milan Cortina 2026, just getting some podiums. 12-year-old me, who first started going abroad to start skiing and would see other teams or professional teams and be like, oh, look at that, wouldn't that be amazing if you could do that, or whatever, would just be so proud. Probably wouldn't even believe how far I've been able to get, to be honest with you. As I said, I've struggled with self-doubt and self-confidence for a lot of my career, and I'm just very proud of where I've managed to get to, and I'm looking for, and as I'm getting older and I'm becoming more experienced, I'm understanding where my values lie and what they are, and I'm just looking forward to being able to use my voice in the right way moving forward, and standing up for, I suppose, females in my sport and females in sport in general, and equal opportunity, and just see where we can get to. And I, fingers crossed, can get everything sorted. I'm really excited about the next few years of racing, because my ability is there, and it is a case of getting all the right bits of the jigsaw into the right places, and it'll be pretty exciting.